Blizzard literally did a balance change a day after the last video, and that kinda hit my motivation a bit. But it's fine. If you guys need an updated composition sheet, remember the document that I said in the last video. Link in the description below. It has an up-to-date guide on how to do a general build for certain compositions. Okay, let's talk about pirates and demons. Pirates especially got some major changes. They got a good number of new cards that focus on purchasing minions and using your gold, and demons got new cards that focus more on the self-damaging aspect. Gunpowder Courier is one of the earliest win conditions in the game and really makes a card like Blade Collector a terrifying minion for your opponents. It's pretty simple to use, just get a board full of pirates and buy cheap cards. Cards that give multiple minions like Elemental, Patient Scout, or Tad. Of course, free dealing Gambler is always good. Unfortunately, there's two big problems, and it's the consistency of being able to spend gold and the lack of health. Luckily, Fleet Admiral Tethys and Record Smuggler exists. Both give you plenty of economy to spend for attack buffs. As for health, just get Lovesick Balladus. They should be able to give you enough health to withstand your opponents. Underhanded Dealer is the best way for pirates to consistently get one really big minion. Again, just like Gunpowder Courier, you want to focus on minions that have multiple minions involved. You want to sell as much minions as you can to gain gold or use Record Smuggler's ability to gain a bunch of stats. Since Underhanded Dealer is independent from the tribe in order to gain stats, you can keep Underhanded Dealer in your build even if you're not pure pirates. Just know if you're going pirates, you need another way to scale too, whether it's through Gunbound Courier or with Peggy Sturdybone. You can't just be one minion strong. It's difficult to make this build without the key cards. Wrathweaver without Tichondrius makes for only one strong minion. Tichondrius without Wrathweaver may not get enough stats for your board. Either card without Soul Rewinder destroys your health rapidly. That is not to say that this build should be avoided. Wrathweaver is one of the earliest fast scaling cards in the game, and if you got all the cards assembled, outscaling your opponents will be pretty easy. Fortunately, finding triples or certain demons isn't too difficult of a task now with the inclusion of Malchazar and Imposing Percussionists. And even though the build isn't focused on Famished Felbat, it's never too bad to add it to your board. Speaking of which, just like the previous demon build, the Felbat build requires you to have key important cards to make sure you scale high. Legion Overseer and Felemental are required to make sure you get the big stats you need. If you got the chance, you could even use Nomi or Dancing Barnstormer to increase the elemental stats in the shop. While Tichondrius and Wrathweaver build needs you to constantly buy demons to make stats, Felbat is all passive. The downside is that he will eat your shop. That means you need to take note of a few things. Number 1, freezing your shop is pointless since it will be eaten. Maybe you can still freeze if you're not eating the entire shop, but it's completely random. Number 2, you need to make sure that the last shop you're eating have enough minions for your demons to consume. Pay attention to that, or else you might have turns where you're not having all your minions scale. Number 3, Felbat no longer eats other minions. That means if you want him to scale, you either need Tichondrius or you need another Felbat. Number 4, if you have 2 Famished Felbats, your demons can eat twice. That means if you have 2 Felbats and 1 demon, your Felbats will eat 1 each, and your third demon will eat twice, meaning you'll consume 4 minions. So pay attention to this when you're making your board. Number 5, use your gold wisely. Yes, Felbat is a passive scaling win condition, but that doesn't mean you waste your gold rolling. Pick up Selfless Hero, Zap, Titus, or any other tech card that can help you beating your opponents. Find Uther to make sure one of the minions you consume have big stats. Pick up any pair so that you can triple them to further strengthen your board. Understand that once you have 3 gold left, your only choices are to either buy a minion or continue rolling. If you buy a minion, make sure you have enough minions to eat. If you choose to keep rolling, roll for a good shop to eat, not a shop to freeze. Okay, time once again to talk about directional cards quickly. Remember, these cards can be win conditions depending on the situation, or they're just important cards to have for your build, but they're not required to be in the endgame build. Peggy is one of the few ways to gain health on pirates. It's honestly one of their best cards for doing something as simple as buying cards. The main issue with this is the thin spread of stats gained when you have a full board of pirates. If you got Peggy buffing one other pirate, it can go fantastic. You'll see that minion scale in no time. But if you got a board full of pirates, then don't expect to get every minion to have big stats. Rugged Smuggler is key to any pirate build, since you want to spend gold and buy cards as much as possible. The issue is, he doesn't do anything but give you gold. So having this be your tier 5 discover can be difficult as you gain no strength from having him. So be sure you combine him with other pirate cards to gain stats for your build. Vanessa is pirate's consistent way to gain a board-wide attack and health buff. But even then, it's not too amazing. It's rare for her not only to survive the first attack, but also to attack again for extra stats. When playing pirates, be sure when you should know when to throw her out. Eventually her stat gain becomes trivial, and it's better to replace her with a card that either gives you more economy or fights better than her. Just like Record Smuggler, Tethys doesn't really do much for you in terms of tempo, but does have a lot of value. You can go infinite gold with him and Record Smuggler together. Unfortunately, the downsides are the same. You need the other cards to gain stats. Luckily, he helps you find essential pirate cards and triples to make sure you get the necessary stats you need for your pirate build. There are some games where you gain a lot of stats on the shop, but you can't find Famished Felbat. That's where Ur'zul comes in. You can get this card incredibly huge if you're constantly buying and selling demons. Since he focuses on playing demons and eating shop stats, he fits in either Weaver or Felbat build. But he does have taunt, which is a huge downside. It makes him susceptible to Venom or Leroy, so be sure to have other taunts to redirect those attacks. Impulsive Trickster's unique ability allows for some interesting builds. You could give him extra stats and try to use cards like Monstrous Macaw or Tides Rivendare to spread out its health more. You can even have it land on Terragosa to make it permanent. While it's tough to make this card be the sole focus of your build, it's definitely worth mentioning as it can give you a stat advantage over your opponents when played right. You ever need a big stat minion and you're losing the game? That's where Battlemaster comes in. Use Brand Bronzebeard or Rylac Metalhead to get one gigantic minion. Then get him stats with other cards and watch him be the last minion alive, taking up all the hits you need so you can win. The best part is, he can go in any build. He can just be that big minion that you need to win the next fight to make sure you get the top 4. Don't ever overlook this guy, especially if you are low health and you have a way to get him some attack. He can be a huge difference maker. Just make sure he doesn't get sniped by Venom or Leroy. Alright, that's Pirates and Demons. Hopefully I get mechs, Quillboars, and neutrals out much faster than I did for this. Again, check the document in the description to see my cheat sheet on all the current builds. It should really help you guys out. Be sure to give my video a like and subscribe to my channel. It really helps out my growth and my goal to be monetized by the end of the year. If you're interested in coaching, I have multiple year experience coaching players in Battlegrounds, so consider booking me in Metafy or WeCoach. If you want to help support my channel in another way, consider donating to my Ko-fi. See you all next time.